You made the dua. You fixed your mistakes. You became better. And still, nothing changed. The door stayed closed. The answer did not come. The timing did not move. And deep inside, you started wondering, Ya Allah, how much longer? But what if this wait is not empty? What if every silent day is building a stronger version of you? What if the delay is not punishment but preparation? Because Allah does not give small blessings carelessly. He builds hearts before He builds futures. And maybe right now, while you feel forgotten, the wait is building the blessing. Waiting can feel heavier than struggle. When you are struggling, at least you see movement. But when you are waiting, everything feels frozen. You wake up with the same hope. You sleep with the same unanswered prayer. And the silence stretches longer than expected. You made sincere dua from your heart. You asked with tears in the night. You promised Allah you would be grateful. If only this one door opened. But the door remains closed, and your heart feels confused. Each day you check for change, a message, an opportunity, a sign. But nothing shifts, and disappointment quietly settles inside you. Waiting tests parts of you that success never touches. It tests your trust, your patience, your belief in unseen wisdom, and your ability to stay calm in uncertainty. Sometimes the pain of waiting is not about the thing itself. It is about the feeling of being left behind. You watch others move forward, while your chapter seems paused and comparison begins to hurt. You try to stay positive. You tell yourself, it will happen soon. You repeat hopeful words. But deep inside, there is a small fear that whispers, maybe not. Waiting can make you question your worth. You ask yourself if you are not good enough, if your past mistakes are blocking your future, if Allah is displeased with you, even though you are trying, even though you are improving. There are nights when you feel tired, not physically, but emotionally, tired of hoping, tired of expecting, tired of being strong. You smile in front of people, but inside you are exhausted from carrying unanswered questions, from pretending it does not bother you, from acting patient. When your heart feels restless, the hardest part of waiting is not knowing when it will end. If you knew the date, if you knew the outcome, if you knew the reason, it would feel lighter. But uncertainty stretches time. It makes days feel longer. It makes months feel heavier. It makes you replay scenarios in your mind, wondering what you did wrong, wondering what you should change. You try to distract yourself. You focus on work, on study, on improvement. But in quiet moments, the same desire returns. The same prayer rises again. Waiting exposes how much you care, because if it did not matter, it would not hurt. The depth of your pain shows the depth of your hope, and that hope keeps you going. Sometimes you feel embarrassed for wanting something so badly you tell yourself to move on, to lower your expectations, to stop asking, but your heart refuses to give up. There are moments when you feel weak, when you almost stop praying for it, when you almost accept defeat, when you almost say, maybe this is not for me. And then, somehow you find yourself asking again. Waiting can feel lonely, because not everyone understands your struggle. They see the outside, but they do not feel the inside. They do not hear your silent prayers. They do not see your late-night tears. You begin to wonder if this silence has meaning, if this pause has purpose, or if it is just emptiness. And that question weighs heavily on your chest. There are days when your faith feels strong. You remind yourself that Allah knows best. You feel calm. You feel surrendered. But then another delay happens, and your heart shakes again. The pain of waiting is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, like a constant background noise, a gentle ache that never fully leaves even when you try to ignore it. Yet, even in this pain, you continue to hope, you continue to pray, you continue to believe, because somewhere deep inside, you still trust Allah, and that quiet trust, even when mixed with confusion, even when mixed with tears, is proof that your heart has not given up. Even in the pain of waiting, we often believe that progress must be visible. We think something must change outside for growth to be happening inside. But Allah works in layers we cannot see. He develops what is hidden first before revealing what is obvious. Just because nothing has arrived does not mean nothing is moving. Silence does not equal absence. Delay does not equal neglect. Stillness does not equal failure. It often means preparation is happening. A seed under the soil looks lifeless. From the surface, nothing appears different. But beneath the ground, roots are spreading. Strength is forming quietly. Structure is being established before anything breaks through the earth. In the same way, your waiting is building foundations inside you. Your patience is stretching. Your trust is deepening. Your reliance is shifting from people to Allah. You may think this time is empty because there are no celebrations, no announcements, no visible achievements, but Allah measures growth differently. He measures the heart. Every day you remain patient is a day your character strengthens. Every moment you choose hope is a moment your faith matures. Every time you resist despair is spiritual progress. Waiting removes illusions. It shows you what truly matters. It reveals who you really depend on. It exposes your weaknesses gently so they can be corrected. Before greater responsibility arrives, this season is not punishment. It is development. It is refinement. It is quiet construction, building a version of you capable of carrying what you asked for. You might not see change in your situation, but look at your reactions. Look at your perspective. Look at your emotional strength. You're not responding the same way as you once did. That difference is growth. Even if it feels small, even if no one else notices, even if it does not look impressive, Allah sees the internal, a shift, and that matters most. Waiting teaches you consistency. It teaches you to keep showing up even without reward. It teaches you discipline, even without recognition. It teaches you sincerity when you worship without immediate results. Your intention becomes purer when you pray without visible answers. Your connection becomes deeper when you continue without applause. Your sincerity becomes stronger. This time is shaping your endurance. Blessings are not only about receiving, they are about sustaining. If something is given too quickly, without endurance, it may not last. So Allah allows waiting, not to waste your time, but to protect your future, not to frustrate your heart, but to strengthen it. Every silent day counts. Every unnoticed effort matters. Every private prayer is recorded. Nothing is disappearing into emptiness. It is accumulating in unseen ways. You are not stuck. You are being built. You are not wasting time. You are being prepared. The waiting itself is part of the blessing. What, here it feels slow to you, is precise to Allah. What feels empty to you is full of unseen movement. What feels delayed to you is perfectly timed. One day, you will look back and realize this season was not a gap, was not a pause, was not a mistake. It was necessary. Waiting is not wasting. It is shaping, it is aligning, it is strengthening, and it is quietly moving you closer to what is written for you. Sometimes we focus only on the blessing. We think about how it will look, how it will feel, how it will change our lives. but we rarely think about who we must become in order to carry it. A blessing is not just something you receive. It is something you must sustain, and not every version of you can handle every level of favor. So Allah builds you first before He gives you more. If what you are asking for arrived today, would you truly manage it well? Would you remain humble? Would you protect it properly? Would you stay grateful? Sometimes the answer is no, and Allah knows that, not to shame you, but to grow you. He sees your potential. Before you even recognize it, preparation often feels uncomfortable, because growth stretches you. It exposes your weaknesses, it highlights your impatience, it reveals your fears so they can be refined. You may be praying for success, but Allah is building discipline. You may be praying for marriage, but Allah is building emotional maturity. You may be praying for wealth, but Allah is building responsibility without discipline. Success collapses without maturity. Relationships break without responsibility. Wealth corrupts. So Allah strengthens the foundation before He raises the structure, so it does not fall. The waiting season is often a training ground. It teaches you control. It teaches you wisdom. It teaches you balance. Before the test of abundance arrives, blessings are not always easy. They bring new challenges, new responsibilities, new pressures, new expectations. You must be strong enough to carry them. Allah sees the future weight of what you are asking for, and He adjusts you slowly. He increases your patience. He deepens your trust. He strengthens your character. Sometimes preparation happens through small disappointments, through minor delays, through lessons that hurt, through moments that humble you, all shaping you quietly. You may not realize it, but you are reacting differently now. You are calmer under pressure, more thoughtful in decisions, less impulsive with emotions, more aware of consequences. That is not random. That is development. That is Allah polishing your heart. So when the gift comes, it rests in clean hands and a steady soul. Preparation also protects you from self-destruction. Because sometimes, if we receive too much too soon, we lose ourselves in it and forget the one who gave it. Allah wants the blessing to bring you closer to Him, not further away. So He aligns your heart first. He centers your intentions. He purifies your motives. The process may feel slow, but it is intentional. Every delay, every lesson, every stretch of patience we're shaping your readiness. When the gift finally arrives, you will not just receive it, you will manage it, you will value it, you will protect it because you were prepared. And then you will understand that Allah was never withholding. He was constructing. He was strengthening. He was preparing you for something greater than you imagined. Not every blessing is only about readiness. Some blessings are about timing. You may be prepared in your heart, you may feel ready in your mind, but the moment itself must also be right. And Allah controls moments. If something comes too early, it can distract you from what you still need to learn. It can pull you away from growth. It can make you comfortable too soon. And comfort can sometimes slow development before your foundation is complete. If something comes too late, you might lose appreciation for it. You might grow tired of hoping. You might accept less than you deserve. Or you might miss the opportunity entirely because timing affects value. Allah gives at the exact point where impact is strongest, where benefit is greatest, where harm is minimal, where your heart is stable and your environment is aligned. We often think in short term. We look at weeks and months, but Allah sees years ahead. He sees outcomes beyond your vision. He sees consequences beyond your imagination. He sees connections you cannot see. There may be people who must enter your life first. Lessons you must experience first. Mistakes you must avoid first. Strength you must develop first. Before the door opens, at the perfect moment, what feels slow to you is strategic in the unseen. Every delay is positioning. Every pause is alignment. Every quiet season is preparation for a precise release. Think about how the sun rises, not randomly, not suddenly in the middle of night. It rises at a specific time, with measured light, bringing clarity gradually. In the same way, your blessing will not appear randomly. It will come when conditions are right, when your heart is ready, when circumstances support it. When wisdom says, now, there are events shifting around you that you do not notice, conversations happening, paths crossing, barriers being removed, all quietly preparing the moment. You may feel impatient because you see no visible sign, but timing is invisible until it arrives. And once it does, everything makes sense. If Allah delayed it, it is because now was not right. If Allah holds it, it is because something greater is forming. If Allah waits, it is because precision matters. His timing is not careless. It is not emotional. It is not reactive. It is calculated with mercy, measured with wisdom, and filled with purpose. One day, the moment will come, and it will feel natural. It will feel aligned. It will feel like it belongs, because it was placed exactly where it was meant to be. You will not say, "Why did this take so long?" You will say, "Now I understand. Now I see the wisdom. Now I recognize the alignment. Now I feel the mercy." The blessing needs timing, just as much as it needs preparation. And Allah, trust that when it comes, it will arrive at the right time. Trust that when it comes, it will arrive at the perfect moment. Because when Allah gives, He gives with precision, and when He chooses the time, it is never early, never late, only perfectly placed, while you are focused on the outcome. Allah is focused on your heart, because the condition of your heart determines how you handle the. To it, you believe peace depends on it, and to it you believe peace depends on it, and your heart clings tightly. But as the wait continues, something begins to shift. You start realizing that your peace cannot depend on something created. It must depend on the Creator. Waiting exposes attachment. It shows you where your heart leans. It reveals how much you rely on outcomes and how little you rely on Allah. Not to shame you, but to correct you gently when days pass without change. You begin turning to Allah more, not just for the gift, but for comfort, for strength, for reassurance. Your du'as become deeper, less about demanding, more about surrendering, less about when, more about trust. And that is purification. The waiting removes arrogance. It humbles your expectations. It teaches you that control was never really yours. It softens your ego and makes your heart more aware. You begin to understand that even if the blessing never came, Allah would still be enough. And that realization is more powerful than the gift itself. Purification is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle. A change in perspective, a calmer reaction, a quieter soul, a lighter attachment. You learn to be grateful, even without the outcome. You notice small mercies. You appreciate simple stability. You value what you already have, instead of only what is missing. Waiting teaches you contentment, not with mediocrity, but with trust. You stop measuring happiness by achievements and start measuring it by closeness to Allah. Your heart becomes cleaner, less desperate, less restless, less dependent on people, more anchored in faith, more grounded in patience. When attachment weakens, peace strengthens. When control fades, trust increases. When impatience softens, gratitude grows. This purification prepares you not only to receive, but to keep, because a pure heart handles blessings differently. It does not become proud. The longer the wait, the deeper the refinement, the stronger the faith, the clearer the intention, the calmer the soul. You may not notice it daily, but you are becoming lighter. Your heart is less chaotic. Your reactions are less extreme. Your expectations are healthier. Your reliance is clearer. Waiting is cleansing. It removes hidden impurities. It corrects misplaced priorities. It shifts your focus from the creation back to the Creator. And when your heart becomes balanced, not obsessed, not desperate, not dependent, then you are truly ready, because the greatest blessing is not what enters your hands, it is what happens inside your heart. And sometimes, the wait is what purifies it most. Many people think patience means doing nothing. They imagine sitting quietly and simply enduring. But true patience in Islam is not passive. It is movement with trust. It is effort with surrender. It is action without anxiety. Patience means you continue trying, even when results are not visible. You continue improving yourself, even when doors remain closed. You continue praying, even when answers feel delayed. This is not weakness. This is discipline. It is easy to stay motivated when everything is going your way, but it takes real strength to stay consistent in uncertainty. Active patience means you work, but you release the outcome. You plan, but you accept divine timing. You strive, but you trust Allah with the results. You do not stop living just because you are waiting. You build skills. You grow knowledge. You strengthen your character. You prepare for what is coming. Patience transforms frustration into focus. Instead of asking, "Why not yet?" you ask, "How can I improve?" Instead of complaining about delay, you invest in self-development. Instead of giving up, you grow. Active patience also means controlling reactions. When emotions rise, you choose calm. When disappointment hits, you choose perspective. When doubt whispers, you choose faith. This is inner strength that many people never develop because they quit too early. They surrender to hopelessness. They allow delay to break their spirit, but you continue. Even when no one sees. Even when progress feels invisible. Even when motivation fades, you still show up. You still make dua. You still seek forgiveness. You still improve your habits. You still guard your heart. You still trust your Lord. The consistency builds resilience, and resilience builds stability, and stability prepares you to hold something greater without collapsing. Under pressure. Patience teaches emotional control. It teaches balance. It teaches you not to rush decisions. Out of fear or desperation, it protects you from impulsive mistakes. Sometimes in waiting, people make poor choices because they are tired, because they want quick relief, because they want immediate answers. But active patience prevents that. It keeps you steady. It reminds you that temporary relief is not worth permanent regret. It helps you choose wisdom over emotion, faith over fear, patience. It also strengthens your relationship with Allah because you speak to Him more, you depend on Him more, you recognize your limitations more, and that humility deepens your connection. When the blessing finally arrives, you will not be fragile, you will not be reckless, you will not be overwhelmed, because patience trained you. It taught you endurance, it taught you perspective, it taught you restraint, it taught you gratitude. Before the gift even appeared. Active patience is preparation in motion. It is silent strength. It is unseen discipline. It is steady trust. and it is one of the greatest qualities a believer can develop. You are not just waiting, you are building endurance, you are strengthening faith, you are shaping character, and that strength will carry you into your next chapter. Sometimes you only think about what you did not receive. You focus on the door that did not open, the opportunity that disappeared, the person who walked away, the plan that failed, and you feel like you lost something, or valuable. But have you ever considered what you were saved from, what you were protected from, what you were quietly redirected away from? Because not every closed door is a loss. Some are rescues. There are paths that looked perfect but would have drained your peace. There are relationships that felt right but would have weakened your faith. There are opportunities that seemed promising but carried hidden consequences. Allah sees the full picture. He sees the future, impact. He sees the emotional cost. He sees the spiritual risk. He sees what your limited vision cannot. You may have cried over something that would have broken you later. You may have chased something that would have distracted you from your purpose. You may have desired something that would have pulled you away from Allah. The wait sometimes blocks you before damage reaches you. It slows you down before you make a harmful decision. It removes options that were never meant for you. Protection does not always feel gentle. Sometimes it feels like rejection. Sometimes it feels like disappointment. Sometimes it feels like confusion. But protection is still mercy. Think about how many times you later realized that what you once wanted badly would not have been good for you, and you felt grateful it did not happen. That realization only came with time. At the moment you felt hurt, but later you felt relief, because Allah knew what you did not know. What you avoided matters too. The arguments you never had, the regret you never experienced, the stress you never carried, the harm you never faced. Waiting creates space for better alignment. It clears your path from what would have slowed you down or led you somewhere that was not written for you. There are blessings in absence. There is mercy in delay. There is safety in redirection, even when it looks like loss. From your limited perspective, sometimes the greatest favor is not what enters your life, but what leaves it. Not what is added, but what is removed without you fully understanding why Allah's protection is subtle. It does not always come with explanation. It does not always come with clarity, but it always comes with wisdom. Even if that wisdom is hidden, you may think you missed out, but perhaps you were spared. You may think you were left behind, but perhaps you were shielded. You may think you lost, but perhaps you were saved. One day, you will see clearly that what did not happen was just as important as what eventually did, because both shaped your journey. The wait protected you from stepping into something premature, from settling for something temporary, from attaching to something unstable. And that protection matters, so do not only grieve what you did not receive. Also reflect on what you did not suffer, what you did not regret, what you did not lose. Because sometimes the greatest blessing is not the door that opens, but the door that quietly remains closed for your own good. So before you close this video, remember this: your waiting is not empty. It is sacred. Every silent tear, every delayed answer, every moment you chose patience over panic has been building something inside you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Allah is shaping you, strengthening you, positioning you. And when the blessing finally arrives, it will not just change your life. It will prove that every second of waiting was worth it. So stay patient, stay sincere, stay connected to Allah, because the wait is building the blessing, and what Allah builds always lasts.